Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. Just got home, guys, from that awesome watch party that we just did on today's show, passing 100,000 subscribers. And of course, we watched the Steelers, even further take their control over the AFC North with a 23-9 victory over the Cleveland Browns. I just want to, take a little second here to just thank you for all the support that you give to this channel, guys. Over 100,000 subscribers. It's the first Steelers news program individually run on YouTube history. So I really do appreciate all the support that you guys have given me, to Ponzi, to Coop, to our entire team here at Steelers Talk. I'm greatly humbled and greatly honored to be able to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers every single day, and I'm deeply honored that you trust me with your information every single day when it comes to this football team. So I just wanted to start this video out by expressing my gratitude to you guys, and make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're watching us right now and you haven't clicked that subscribe button, we just passed over 100,000 subscribers, and there's still plenty of room for everybody else. So if you guys want to join on and jump on the bandwagon here, we greatly appreciate you. And of course, we'll be live for Thursday Night Football's game against the Cincinnati Bengals here coming up. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Join us for our watch party on Thursday, and of course we'll have extensive coverage all throughout the next 24 hours or so after I watch the film tomorrow. But I did want to get in front of a camera here after our instant reaction video that we put out after the game. You guys can check that out. I gave out my game balls. I have 8 takeaways coming out of that ball game, but we did get some news updates in terms of the injuries that the Pittsburgh Steelers suffered today. Mostly positive news, and then I just have some more positive and some negative thoughts that I want to talk about when it comes to this Pittsburgh Steelers football team as we move forward into Week 7. So we'll start with the injury updates from head coach Mike Tomlin. Coach T did confirm that Miles Killebrew has a significant knee injury. He didn't confirm that it's season-ending, but I'm guessing that that's probably going to be the case for Miles, which really sucks. He's a great teammate, great locker room guy. I'm sure he'll continue to be that. But he's also a phenomenal player on special teams. I think over the last several seasons, I can't remember if it's 3 or 4, he has a blocked punt, at least one. And, to have a player that's that consistent and is such a great leader and such an impact player in that phase of the football game, which is so underrated in my opinion. It's really big for this team, and the team will miss it if he misses the rest of this season. There's no doubt about that. But we did get some good news from Mike Tomlin, which is that pretty much everyone else that was banged up in this game that left the game at some point, that includes guys like Jalen Ramsey, Joey Porter Jr., Darius Slay, Brandon Echols, Jabril Peppers, and more. None of those guys were mentioned by Coach T in his press conference in terms of the guys that were quote-unquote worth mentioning when it comes to the injuries. So I'm sure those guys are a little bit banged up. We might hear a little bit about them when Tomlin takes the podium. I think he takes the podium tomorrow because it is a short week. So we'll probably learn more about those guys tomorrow. But I'm guessing all those guys are going to be available and good to go versus the Cincinnati Bengals on Thursday. So to lose Miles is certainly a loss. That's bad news. But the fact that so many guys were in and out, especially in the secondary today for the Steelers, and it looks like all those guys are going to be good to go moving forward, is significant good news for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because if you lose 2 or 3 more of these guys, you're really searching for answers in terms of depth on this group. But to move aside here from the injury stuff, let's move over to some positive thoughts that I had about this football game now that I've had a chance to rewatch the game over. I haven't watched the All-22 film, so I'll have more takeaways for you guys tomorrow afternoon in that regard. But now that I've had a chance to watch the broadcast back again, I thought it was another really good day on the ground. And I think that, everything in the box score backs this up. It was another game where the Steelers ran for over 100 yards, and it was a group effort. Like Jaylen Warren had over 50 today. Kenneth Gainwell got in there. Honestly, Kenny G was more of an impact as a pass-catching threat. He caught 6 passes today, which matched his rushing production in terms of carries. So he had 12 touches today, 6 carries, 6 receptions. So to have Kenny G in there as kind of like that receiving back option is really good. And then Caleb Johnson contributed as well today. Jonnu Smith had 10 yards to get the team over the top there with the 100-yard total as a team. So I really like what I'm seeing from the Steelers' rushing attack, and everything changed when they started going to these jumbo personnel looks, guys. And even the Cleveland Browns, who came into the week #1 in the National Football League in run defense, had a tough time sticking with Spencer Anderson and Darnell Washington, especially on the perimeter of those runs. And The Steelers were very effective today, moving the football. Now, it's not like they ripped off any like 30, 40, 50-yard runs or anything like that, but it was very consistent 6, 7, 8-yard chunks. They would get like 10 or 11 yards pretty consistently. And, that's the type of run game, the ground and pound run game that this team needs in order to play the way that they want to play come January. So, I think we've seen, this version of the Steelers offense, with jumbo personnel, with Spencer and with Darnell in there, and then their running backs, we've seen it work 2 straight games in a row, and they just did it, 100-yard performance versus the best run defense in the National Football League. So in my opinion, guys, if you can run on the Browns, you can run on anybody in this league, and I think that it has really solidified the run game as kind of the identity for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and particularly the run game with these jumbo personnel packages that Arthur Smith has so meticulously crafted here. And we didn't see these in the first few weeks of the season. This is an adjustment made by the Pittsburgh Steelers offense and their coaching staff here to kind of find something that works. And kudos to Arthur Smith and this coaching staff for finding that and implementing it, and then the players to execute it. Also, sticking with the run game here, I thought the run defense was excellent again today. Mike Tomlin pointed it out in his post-game press conference how the defense did once again a really good job stopping the run, and that's the 3rd straight game in a row here where the Steelers' run defense has been excellent. Of course, those first 2 weeks were not good weeks for the Steelers' run defense. Keanu Benson was getting bullied at the line of scrimmage. Now this team has actually played Daniel Ekuale at nose tackle quite a bit on early downs, and I think that Ekuale had a really kind of quietly good game today, especially in run defense on early downs, and they just didn't allow the Browns offense to move the football in the way that they desired, which is they want to run through Judkins, and they want Judkins to have explosive runs, and they want to have contributions from Jerome Ford and Dylan Sampson, and they just weren't able to do that today. Like Dylan Gabriel had like 1 million pass attempts today, and that's exactly where you want to live if you're going up against the Cleveland Browns, because Dylan Gabriel, although I think he's a fine game manager, he's not someone that's going to carry an offense to victory, especially against a defense like the Pittsburgh Steelers. So really impressed with what I saw in the run defense department for the Steelers today, and if they can keep that up, this is going to be one of the better run defenses in the National Football League this season. Also, something in the post-game press conferences that I really liked was that quarterback Aaron Rodgers gave a major shout-out to Jalen Ramsey. Towards the end of his press conference, he specifically called out Ramsey and said, I've been around a lot of people and a lot of players that, they see a Sunday and a Thursday kind of back-to-back, and they just sit out both games because they're not 100%, what have you. But Rodgers praised Ramsey's focus and ability to get himself ready for this football game, and then not only to get himself ready to get to like 80, 85%, whatever Ramsey was actually at, but to actually play in the football game. The reason why I love this comment, guys, is because it completely kills the narratives that are out there around Aaron Rodgers and Jalen Ramsey. Like, the narrative around Rodgers is that he's a bad teammate, he's selfish, he only cares about himself, blah, 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 blah. He went out of his way to talk about a teammate and the efforts that they put in. That's what leaders do, man, and he did a really good job doing that. And I really appreciated that from Aaron today as the leader of this football team. And then I really appreciate what Aaron pointed out when it comes to Jalen. I mean, what has Jalen been criticized for, ever since his time in Miami? I mean, bad teammate, only cares about himself, yada, 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 bad locker room presence, etc. And, Jalen Ramsey, could have sat out this week. Everyone was expecting him to. Everyone was expecting Jalen Ramsey to sit out this week and do all those things, and even sit out the Cincinnati game. I mean, we said on this channel we're not expecting Jalen Ramsey back until the Green Bay Packer game, and he ends up playing today, and he played great. He had 2 sacks, first two sack game of his entire career, and he deserves all the props that he's getting. So shout out to Jalen Ramsey. Also, Caleb Johnson got some work today, which is a positive outlook here. Mike Tomlin said that he earned those opportunities. So the fact that they're seeing something in practice, that they want to, give him opportunities in the game. He had the same amount of carries as Kenny Gainwell today. So even though he is the third running back in this rotation, the Steelers seem very committed to getting all 3 of these backs time on the field. So that's good to see. And another thing I want to point out here, guys, I gave Nick Herbig a game ball today. I watched the game over. Man, I didn't even give him enough credit for how dominant of a performance he had. I mean, Nick Herbig was absolutely fantastic, consistently putting pressure on Dylan Gabriel, giving other guys opportunities, And, it has people out there on Steelers Twitter, guys that I really respect, like Nick Farabaugh, for example, questioning whether Nick Herbig is the best edge rusher on this team. And this team includes TJ Watt. All right. And I still don't hold that opinion, guys. I want to make that abundantly clear. TJ is the one that's getting all the double team and chip help protection and all that stuff. And Herbig is benefiting from that. So even though Herbig's numbers, from an efficiency standpoint, have frankly been better than TJ Watt's this year, the fact that Watt is still making the impact that he's making. I mean, he had multiple plays on the football today against Dylan Gabriel. He was in his face all day long as well, and he was getting that chip help all day long, while Herbig was really benefiting a lot from the one-on-one opportunities that he had. And he still did a fantastic job, but I think if the roles were reversed and Herbig was getting the chip help and TJ was getting all the one-on-ones, it wouldn't even be close. Like, TJ would be the number one guy. But the fact that Herbig is as efficient as he is and TJ is as efficient as he is with the chip help, and then you include all the contributions from the interior guys, not to mention all the guys that the Steelers are blitzing, the linebackers and DBs, and all the creative blitzes that we've been seeing from Mike Tomlin and Terrell Austin over the last few weeks. I'm really liking where the Steelers defense is at, and I don't think there's any question right now, guys, that TJ Watt, Nick Herbig, and Alex Highsmith are the best pass rushing trio at the edge rusher position anywhere in the game today. Frankly, it's not close. Now, I'll finish up here with some negative thoughts. I'll start here with, you guys can hear my dog in the background, excuse her, but she's ripping something apart right now. So, but I will say, to start with some negative thoughts here, guys, just some things that I think the Steelers need to work on and clean up this week. It's never a 100% perfect performance. I did think, and I said on the postgame show, that I think this is the best performance the Steelers have had so far this season, bar none, both sides of the football. But today was the worst day of the year for this defense and this team in general in terms of penalties. They had 10 total penalties for 59 yards. And Mike Tomlin did point this out in his press conference today, where it's like, sometimes, unless you really dominate both sides of the ball like the Steelers frankly did today, you're not going to win those football games. So you got to clean up those penalties. I think going into the day today, the Steelers were number one in terms of the least penalized team in the game heading into this ball game, and obviously that didn't hold up today. So hopefully heading into this short week, they can clean some of those penalties up. A lot of it was lining up offsides and stupid penalties that we don't usually see from the Steelers. So hopefully those get cleaned up in the weeks to come. Also, I thought there was multiple missed opportunities for interceptions. Like, there could have been up to at least 4 up to 6 interceptions in this game that were like tipped up in the air or bad throws from Dylan Gabriel or what have you. And obviously the Steelers didn't bring them in. There's multiple dropped interceptions today. Now, this doesn't really concern me, guys. The Steelers usually convert on these opportunities. So I think people will look at the stat sheet and be like, oh, the Steelers didn't have any turnovers. Has the defense lost their touch? And it's like, no, man, their defense was still disruptive enough to force turnover-worthy play opportunities. It's just he didn't execute. And I think in future weeks we'll see the Steelers defense execute those opportunities at a higher clip than we did today. Then the final thing that I'll talk about here today, guys, is I'd like to see this team add another receiver before the Packer game. Obviously I don't think you're going to add a receiver to play against Cincinnati on Thursday. I think it's just too quick of a turnaround. But like the day after the Cincinnati game, like on that Friday, if you really wanted to get aggressive and try to make a trade happen for Chris Olave or Rashid Shaheed, the Saints lost again today. Or maybe Jacoby Myers. I don't know if the Raiders are going to be willing to deal Jacoby after a win. They did beat the Tennessee Titans today, but I would really like to see another receiver in this receiving group because, DK Metcalf, he's doing a lot of great stuff at this point in the season. He's catching a touchdown pretty much every single game. He has 4 touchdowns in 5 games to this point, so that's really good. I saw some good things from Darnell Washington. Pat Freiermuth had a nice catch today, even though he only had 1. I saw Jonnu Smith contribute to this group. I saw the running back contribute to the passing game as well, and we've seen that throughout the season. But, when Calvin Austin III, isn't in there, and then between Scotty Miller and Roman Wilson, the guys that are mostly responsible for taking up that wide receiver 2 mantle have a combined 1 target. And listen, man, the 1 target ended up working out well for Roman. He had the catch. He had 12 yards. He picked up a first down. That's all great. It's just not a whole lot of volume. So, I'm going to have to look at the film tomorrow to see exactly how those guys played, to see if they really got open. I noticed Denzel Ward was on those guys a lot today. Like, it was Tyson Campbell for most of the game defending DK Metcalf. So keep that in mind, where they did go up against their number one corner essentially in Denzel. So maybe there wasn't a whole lot of matchup opportunities that Rodgers liked. So we'll take a look at the film tomorrow, see what that's at. But man, that is concerning that you have, pretty much two receivers, three receivers that play most of your, wide receiver snaps, and only one is getting most of the targets, and the other two are getting pretty much none. So, I would certainly love if the Steelers could get another receiver that can help them out here, along with Calvin, who is expected to probably be back by the Packer game in Week 8. If they could add another guy that, they trust in 11 personnel, which is 3 receivers, to have DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin III, and then another veteran that, they feel good about. That could add another element to the Steelers offense. And listen, I love the 12 and 13 and the jumbo personnel packages that they run. It's working, right? But when the Steelers, the one area of their offense where they kind of struggle is when they got to throw the ball and they got to spread things out and they got to have multiple receivers on the field, it's just not that effective right now. So I think another receiver in this building can help. Adam Schefter did say today or a couple of days ago in an article surrounding the trade deadline that the Steelers are going to be looking to improve their roster over the next few weeks. And the number one place that I can look at to improve their roster right now is at wide receiver, plain and simply. So I definitely think that Shefty might be hearing some things that the Steelers might be sniffing around, trying to get another receiver. And, of course, we'll have extensive coverage on all the wide receiver trade rumors that the Steelers are linked to on this channel. We put out around 2 videos a day at least on this channel every single day. So if you guys want free, informative, and entertaining Steelers coverage every single day on this channel, you guys can click that subscribe button if you haven't already. And this is where I'll leave you guys for the evening. Tomorrow we will have an Overreaction Monday video, followed by a film analysis video later in the afternoon. So if you guys want to click that subscribe button for that extensive Steelers coverage, make sure you guys click that subscribe button. And of course, with the quick turnaround, we've got probably a Thursday night football preview coming up Tuesday morning, and followed by Steelers Talk Live on Tuesday afternoon, starting at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's kind of the schedule over the next 2 days, guys. I really do appreciate all of your support. Thank you guys so much, all the people that subscribed today during the watch party to help us get to 100,000 subscribers. It's just the beginning here on Steelers Talk. So make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers.